Women's Day celebrations have wrapped up in Misgund in the Eastern Cape. The Premier delivered his address focusing on the economic inclusion and empowerment of women in that province. Several women-led projects have been awarded 7.6 million rands to assist in growing their businesses. Sipha Kema joins us live from there with one of those beneficiaries. Sipha, good afternoon. A happy Women's Day to you. Now, with all the addresses that have been taking place across the country today, the common thread has been about women empowerment. But it seems as though some of the social ills that exist within our communities hinder that progress.
Absolutely, Katleho. When you're talking about those social ills hindering the progress of women and women empowerment, we heard the Premier of the Eastern Cape talking about that, talking about gender-based violence, domestic abuse, femicide, which are a serious problem and concern in South Africa. Although, the public or the government as well might want to give women financial freedom, however, women are still under oppression because of gender-based violence and those social ills that you are referring to. We heard him talking about how, collectively communities must take a stand against gender-based violence as well, saying that government will not have that, saying the money that is meant to be spent on empowering women instead is used to build shelters, and that this will come to an end. Although he didn't specify really how this should come to an end or unpack any action plan as to what government is going to do. But I'm just going to bring in the Premier as well, because another issue that is facing areas like the Nelson Mandela Bay, Katleho, is the high level of crime. Just today, women that were awarded that 7.6 million that you're referring to couldn't even publicly accept or their checks or their monies couldn't even be identified publicly because they will end up being targets, more especially in the Nelson Mandela Bay. Premier, this is a serious concern that we've seen what is happening in the Nelson Mandela Bay, where even government cannot even publicly give women, their money, their checks to empower them because of criminals.
Really bad, really upset. It's one of those issues that we are just finding ourselves in the middle of with thugs, gangsters terrorizing the communities. I had a discussion earlier on my way here with the minister again. Minister came here about a week ago. He's coming back in a week's time. And I've said to him, Minister, if we cannot get soldiers on the ground, let's get the special police task force as well as the National Intervention Unity. They must come on the ground. You need a full-time, concerted effort in Nelson Mandela. You don't want to do this touch and go. You must be around. And I know police are doing a great job. I know where there are people killed, police are able to arrest. We just need to look at in the entire ecosystem in terms of justice as well as the police, because it's easy to arrest, but we're finding these people easily being given bail, going back and continue. Most of them are repeating offenders. They are actually out on parole and all those kind of issues. So that tells you that the problem we're dealing with, it's a bit quite systemic and quite endemic. We've got to get to the bottom of it and uproot it. But I'm telling you, with the subs, we are focusing on that. Police, particularly Nelson Mandela and Mtata. You can imagine, we are affirming women today. A woman got a kind of support from government for a franchise of Spa, 5 million. She cannot stand up with proud and there's really claim and be an inspiration to other women simply because she might be followed and all those. So, but it's a crime that we're dealing with, and we're making all this concerted effort, joint operation with the municipality, etc. We said we're going to have an ongoing, repeated operations. We're not going to tell when, but people will be shocked. And I can tell you, we are going to wipe them out. We have said so. We can't coexist with criminals. Criminals is either they stay in jail or they are not on the planet Earth. We can't just allow that to continue unabated. So they are disrupting catalytic projects. We're doing a lot of roads, construction. They are just all out doing all these criminal things. So we are dealing with that. We're focusing on it. But we are here today to affirm women. We want women to feel that we're part of them. When we talk about women emancipation, that emancipation must talk about economic development, must talk about economic opportunities to them. So I'm quite happy with the work that we're doing, but crime is a problem that we have, and we're focusing on it.
All right, so thank you so much, Premier. Now, to wrap it up with some good news, Katlego, we do have one of those beneficiaries, but unfortunately, as we had spoken with the Premier, as we mentioned that we need to hide her identity, we cannot reveal her name or her identity, but we also want to find out, how, this influx that they've just received for her business, what it's going to do. But the only thing we can do is to talk about the kind of business that she is, which is oceans economy, one of the areas that the Eastern Cape is looking to explore. And she's one of the women currently farming oysters in the Nelson Mandela Bay. Mama, masithethe ngale mali lena uyifumene namhlanje njengomuntu ongumama owenza into engafane yenziwe ngabantu abangomama ye-oyster farming, izaninceda njani kule company yenu lento?
Sinceda kakhulu mama ngoba besifuna nokuba iphinde i-ECDC isinike enye imali ukwenzela uba sikwazi ukuqasha abanye abantu bakwazi usincedisa. Yona khona iyasikhupha endlaleni shema funa uqoka basincedile i-ECDC yiyo lisinike imali ayo loan lena isinikile qha bamsiphuhle phulisa abantu abamnyama imali evela kurhulumente isincede kakhulu le mali lena kangoba siyathenga izinto i-oysters sithenga from kwamanye amazwe sikhulise sithengisele ikhampani.
And ke ngoku le mali lena izanceda nitsho niyikhulise kanjani into nenizawuyenza mhlawumbi iplan yenu for the next few years, mhlawumbi 5 years xa nijonga?
Sizawuthengisa kwa izimbaza yikho enye into esayithetha because yona ndinemali zezi oysters saqhubeka nazo ezi oysters sizithenge from eChile sizithumele sizithengise sizikhulise elwandle then sithengisele ikhampani then ke ngoku sikwazi ukuqasha nabantwana bethu abantwana bethu esinabo bangafumana baphangele kule ndawo siphangela kuyo ukuze nabo bakwazi ukwenza lento siyenzayo baqhubekeke nayo bangayiyeki.
Mama, Mama. Well, Katlego, as it's said that once you empower women, you're actually empowering the entire community. And that's exactly what is happening with these women and these entrepreneurs that have been given this opportunity. She's one of the oyster farmers in the Nelson Mandela Bay, saying that this has given them an opportunity because they will then be able to employ and expand their initiative. But not only that, because they actually import these oysters and then grow them in the sea, in the Nelson Mandela Bay, and this will also help them grow their business as well. Well, it is a wrap here at Misgund, Katlego. It's back to you in studio.